Ever since I was 5, bands like Bon Jovi and Green Day and Boston really got me into it, and I always just wanted to be on stage like them someday. And I didn't get into the recording aspect of it until later during high school, when I was looking into what would be a good job that I could do that would be steady pay, because I know it's really hard to make it just touring, playing shows. And so that's still a goal of mine, and it could possibly be done, but I just made sure I locked myself in at the studio here because that's something that's permanent. But yeah, just the different bands that I listened to when I was younger really got me into it, and once I started playing, I'd get frustrated and want to stop. It was really difficult, but after you started getting good, like, it just made you want to pursue it even more and just get better and better and bump up each level each time. I do music because it's always been a passion of mine since I was a little boy. Just being able to express your emotion and put all that feeling into a song. And if you were heartbroken or anything at some certain time in your life, like, you can put all that emotion into the song, and when you're in another rough time, look back at that song, and it just really, it's like a therapy, and it really helps you out, and it just makes me happy being able to write my own songs and get them out there. And looking back down the road, it's going to be a big accomplishment for me, and I'm glad I've done that. I am in 3 bands currently. I started out with Modern Music Revolution. They're a rock band. That's a basic way to sum it up. And then secondly, I joined In the Verse. They're a Christian hard rock band. Members are located kind of all over Wisconsin: Green Bay, Oak Creek, Sheboygan, West Bend. And then lastly, Tango Lines, and they're an alternative country band, and I'm having a lot of fun with them as well. I've played with Modern Music Revolution for about 2 years now. 3 years ago, I started out just writing and recording demos at a home studio with the guitarist Chris Zervis, and eventually it just formed from that. He got his friend who just got back from California, moving back to Wisconsin, and he'd been in some very successful bands and toured the world, and we brought him in, and he'd been the drummer, so we were with me on guitar, Chris on guitar, and then we had a drummer. And then we've got, my brother came back from Miami to play bass, and then our vocalist came about 2 weeks after that, and that was our full 5-member set. And we got a drummer for a little bit, and our current drummer switched to guitar, and the guy that we did have for a short while had like 4 bands that he was in already, and he just couldn't do it, so we went back to a 5-piece, and we've been with that for about a year and a half now as a 5-piece, but 2 years since we've been gigging out. In the Verse came in the summer of 2016, and they were doing their record here, and they did not have a bassist, so their guitar player was recording the bass parts as well as all the guitar parts, and I was really blown away by their sound, and I messaged the guitarist. I was like, if you guys ever need a live bassist or anything, like, feel free to hit me up. And I kind of said it as a joke, but eventually they contacted me and said, hey, are you still interested in playing bass? And I was like, for sure. And I kind of went from there. November of 2016, I started working with them, going to rehearsals, and we just had our show, and that was in Princeton, Illinois, and we played with about 250 people in front of, so that it was a good crowd for the first show, and we've got a few gigs lined up this summer, so I'm looking forward to that. Tango Lines, only about 3 months now, and it was kind of similar with In the Verse. They came into the studio, and their bassist just left, and they were in need for one, and they contacted me, and I wasn't originally going to do it because I was already in 2 groups and getting a busy schedule ahead of me. But I went to one of their rehearsals, and they blew me away with their skill, and they sounded really good. The vocalist was in perfect key live, and I decided to go with it, and I joined them. So that's been 3 months now, and we started playing a few shows, and we've got quite a bit. I think out of all the bands, I'm going to be playing the most shows with them this summer. They've got a lot lined up, and they're fun guys to play with, and they're very talented. For the next 5, 10, 15 years, I'd for sure stay in Menominee Falls. I've kind of got it lined up where I'll be an employee here in the future. just interning a bit longer yet. And once the guy here doesn't run the business anymore, or if he stops, I'll eventually probably have to find a different type of work or open my own studio. And at that point, we'll cross the bridge when we get there, but I would have enough skill and knowledge on how to set up the rooms and what to buy for equipment and all the different mics to get to be able to set up my own like this one. And I'd go from there, maybe even in a different state where there's more business and clients to find, but I'd for sure consider that down the road. My name is Ryan Kutz and I intern at Cherry Pit Studios. Crazy, like it was a weekend as a rock star. Like, went down there, stayed at a hotel, got to chill like in some big backstage place with all this food and stuff with the bands. And then we played the show or whatever, there was like 250 people there. And then after the show, we were at the merch table. I probably had like 40 to 50 people come up asking for autographs, like signing shirts, guitar picks, CDs, their arms or whatever, and like asking to take photos with me and stuff. I was like, and then I'm back to Piggly Wiggly now. That was fun for the day it lasted.